said I should visit on Danny's anniversary.
The thought of another patient showing up at the front door here.
Would you allow them in?
Of course not.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 horror film Oddity. The film is written and directed by Damien McCarthy and it stars Carolyn Bracken, Johnny French, Steve Wall, Gwyneth Lee, Taj Murphy and Joe Rooney. Right, the film focuses on... Initially we meet a character who is set in Ireland. She's doing up a house, renovating it. She's got a twin sister that she's estranged with. She rings her up to kind of build some bridges, and then that night there is a strange knock at the door, and there is a quite sinister man peers through the lock, the peeping hole, and says to her inside, let me in, there's somebody in the house with you. She doesn't, and the film skips forward and we find out she's been murdered. Her husband, Ted, goes to visit her twin sister, Danny, who is blind but also a psychic medium. He brings some possessions to her, and then she comes to visit out of the blue at the house. And her reason for visiting is she knows something about the killing, and she wants to expose the killer, and she brings along a sinister item in order to aid her. Right, what are my thoughts on Oddity? This is from the same director that brought us Caveat, that came out 2, 3, 4 years ago, something like that. It's a film I did cover on the channel, and it was a very interesting, from what I remember, horror film. Quite an acquired taste, but definitely talent there. And this feels like a natural evolution, if you like, for this director, Damien McCarthy. And we have here a very well constructed, effective horror film that a couple of times had me jumping out of my seat. Very, very effective scares in this, and jump scares as well. And it's not often I can say that about jump scares. This one has got some very, very good ones in it. It's also blessed with a tremendous central performance by Carolyn Bracken as Danny. Number one, as she plays like the woman alone in the house who gets murdered in the house, and then she also plays the twin sister, Danny, who comes to the house in order to expose the killer, I suppose. And it's a very, very strong performance, and she plays two very distinct characters, and I very much enjoyed her performance. It was very, very good. The film, as I've said, is set in Ireland. It's almost got a gothic feel to it as well, and it kind of tips its hat a little bit to, if you like, is it Jewish mythology? You know, with the golems, you know, that come to life. You know, when you get them to do the right, if you do the right things and get the golem to come to life, they will take out someone that's wronged you, sort of thing. That's similar to what's going on here with this thing. I mean, she brings this awful looking item to the house, claiming it's a gift for them. And I have to say, if someone turned up to my house with a gift like that, they wouldn't get in my house. I mean, it's a sinister looking thing. And it appears completely harmless, but you know that there's something coming from that at some point in the film, and it doesn't really disappoint, I have to say. I thought it had an incredibly strong opening. This guy with a weird looking eye, you know, sticking his head through the door saying, "Let me in. There's somebody in the house with you. I saw them go in. Let me in." I'm not sure I would have believed him either. I mean, it all appears very, very sinister. And then once it kind of gets on with the story and she's murdered in the house and the blind sister turns up, it's just it kind of bubbles away and then it kind of pokes you with a scare here and there, and it's the very, very effective scares. and it really does its job. There's a couple of moments in the film where I kind of questioned if a character would do that. In particular, Danny, the husband kind of explains to her, if you do this sort of thing at this particular time, and she kind of does it, and in my head I'm thinking, why would you do that? And without giving spoilers away, I don't believe the character would have done that, because she went to this property absolutely convinced that she knew what's gone on. And yeah, it works very, very well. As I've said, it's nicely put together. It's constructed nicely. It's lit very nicely. It's filmed very nicely. All the performances are very good. It's got that weird gothic feel to it as well. I mean, the husband, Ted, works at an asylum, and this asylum looks like the pit. I mean, it's like something from the 60s. Really, really horrible stuff. And one of the orderlies that works there is particularly cruel and awful. But the just whole idea of this asylum surrounding this story sort of thing, it gives it that real sinister feel. And that's what you kind of feel while you're watching this. It's not a film you can kind of relax with. It's got a real sinister sense of dread going on about it while you're watching it. And I very much enjoyed some of the dialogue as well. You know, when you've got Danny turning up at the house and being very frank with what she's kind of saying to the husband and his new girlfriend, which obviously she's at odds with, because it's her sister that was killed about a year ago. So she's kind of upset that he's already got a girlfriend. But it really, I think, it feels quite an original horror. It's got a real original feel about it, and I like originality with horror films. Well, any film, but horror in particular, because it's not easy to do something original and new and different these days. It's not what you would describe this as a traditional horror. It's one of those horrors that if you're a patient person, it will pay off, if you like. The film will pay off, and you'll kind of get what you need from the film in regards to scares and conclusions and that kind of stuff. But the pacing of the film is pretty slow burn for the most part. But that actually, I think, works in its advantage, because it kind of just simmers away the film, the story, the dialogue of the characters. So, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very, very good indeed, and I look forward to whatever Damien McCarthy is going to do next, because this is definitely an improvement on Caveat, so I'll be very interested to see what comes after Oddity. So let me know in the comments, guys, what your thoughts are on this film, and I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.